Buddy. I'm student and facilitator at Jahan School Online Academy, and you are watching the Pallete podcast. As you all know that in every podcast we have new guests with us, and today we have a really special guest, Miss Gretchen. I hope so. I pronounced your name correctly. If not, I'm really sorry for that. So she is from Seattle, Washington, USA. Her profession is she's a retired elementary school teacher and also founder of Peace Camp International, based in Seattle with partnerships in Uganda and India. So today we will get to know more about her life journey experiences. So firstly, thank you so much for joining me. And hi, how are you?
Yeah, hi, thank you for having me. It's nice to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you. So firstly, I would like to have your small introduction so that me and also my viewers can know you better.
Yeah, just like what you said, I'm a retired elementary school teacher. And I also am the founder of Peace Camp International, which runs out of Interfaith Community Sanctuary here in Seattle. Um, I taught for about 20 years, and I'm I'm passionate about peace and people getting along and caring for each other and education, not just information education, but education in deepening our knowledge about not only what's outside but inside of us. And I'm I'm very philosophical.
Okay, that's great. So I would like to know the story of yours. How did you like how your journey started as a teacher and how does it evolved as a founder?
Um, uh, well, my mom kept a drawing from when I was 5 years old that I made, and it had a picture of myself, and it said, I want to be a teacher when I grow up. So I guess it can start there. And I've always liked working with children, and I used to work at summer camps all through college and day camps that we have here when kids are out of school. They don't stay overnight, but they come for the day. And I've always been interested in, yeah, and working with children, being with children, and especially being a facilitator to help kids get along and feel included. And um, I guess in my teaching career, you know, I'm going to say something. I know that Rehan School is all about technology. Um, and in my teaching career, when I was teaching first grade, uh, actually, technology was for my particular style as helping kids get along. It was, it really impeded, it wasn't, I felt a good thing for such young children. I felt we needed more interaction with each other, and the bigger technology grew as a thing that people should know how to do. I've always kind of held a bar like, yes, it's a good thing, but let's also keep in mind that it's important for people to interact with each other and not just be on a screen. And I think for in the US, maybe we might have more of a problem with that than maybe in Pakistan. Um, we we're a very technical society, and our human interactions can be sacrificed in looking at our phones or our tablets or whatever. So anyway, to make the story shorter, uh, I wanted to create a space for children. Kind of the actually, now that I think about it, it's the opposite of the Rehan school. And I'm not saying that that either one is good or bad. I think both are needed. I wanted to create a space where there wasn't nobody could bring their cell phones, anything like that, and we had, a time for meditation, just like you do there, um, a time for dancing. We have our counselors from India bring Bollywood dancing, so we dance, um, and a time for like stretching, taking care of our bodies, and also a time for to play a game as a community. So everybody, because it's a multi-age camp, so everyone, we have to come up with a game that everyone can play from the youngest to the oldest, and they all help each other. And then the rest of the time, the kids have free time to, we have games and stuff for them to play, but free time to engage with each other and create with each other and get to know each other and um, feel connected with each other. So that my passion for Peace Camp grew out of the more and more technology. So I hope that I've explained that well enough for people to understand.
Okay, that's pretty amazing, I would say. Like, I would love to join this because I myself is not I'm not a big fan of using technology, as you said you are not. But I believe that, like in today's world, like we have to um, be equal to the other developed countries as well. So it's just the thing that we have to go with. But over here in Rehan school, like students are being taught like meditation, or in physical campuses they are doing yoga, and they are doing interactive activities. But of course the medium is definitely technology, and they're using their laptops and mobiles most of the times. So but your idea is also really amazing in your place. So my next question to you is that, was there a specific event or experience that sparked your interest in peace building and global partnerships?
Um, I think it's kind of how I was made, but probably I'm a middle child in my family. I so maybe my role has been like everybody get along. And then when I got into school as a student and friend, um, I always wanted people to get along. I didn't like it if my friends um, made fun of someone or picked on someone, and I was the one who, you know, tried to help people see the other side. And I don't like to see people get hurt. I'm very sensitive to um, people's expressions. And, sometimes in life we can do something or say something or look a certain way at someone, and you can see someone's face kind of drop. And that always um, affected me. And that's at Peace Camp. That's really what I teach the kids. That's one of what I teach the kids is look at who you're who you're with. Look, pay attention, listen, not just with your ears, but with your eyes, pay attention to what's happening. And if you might think something is not a big deal, but if someone turns like their shoulders go down like that, then you've done something that has hurt them. And I always tell kids, no one, we can put a band-aid on an outside wound, but we can't like open up the heart and put a band-aid on the heart. So it's good to, ask, what happened? Did I hurt your feelings? I'm sorry, and ask for forgiveness and come to an understanding so you can come together again. And then I always make them shake hands and smile at each other. And once they smile at each other, it's like everything is forgiven because then the reconnection has started. So, anyway, that's just, I think I'm someone who I've always paid attention to how people look when they're interacting. And it gives me unrest when I feel like someone is being hurt inside or outside.
Okay, I totally relate with you over here because I myself is also a kind of really sensitive person. Like when I'm talking to someone, I'm really focused on their expressions. that for some reason it's just like I can understand what they're actually feeling. They don't show, but of course you can tell from their faces and their body postures that how they are actually feeling. So that is something that makes me sad sometimes too. Like you cannot speak properly, or because other people don't really understand, so you don't know how to express yourself or how you can explain this feeling to others. And also I agree it's really important for to make sure that everyone is included, and that's really amazing.
Yeah.
So my next question to you would be that why did you choose Uganda and India as partner location for your organization?
Um, so India, like I'm a member of Interfaith Community Sanctuary, and um, years ago I went to a conference called the Dawn of Interspirituality, where we had speakers from different parts of the world, from different religions, and there I met Sister Lucy Kurian, who started an orphanage in India called Maher, and she brought with her one of the kids who grew up in Maher, and he had really good energy, and I thought, oh, um, it would be fun to have him at Peace Camp, and it would be good for the kids to learn from someone from another culture. I mean, in the US, we have people from all over the world here, um, but it's different when someone comes from that country and is here and working with us and hasn't been um, culturized. I don't know if that's a word, by the U.S. So I should say encultured. Anyway, the the young man who was with Sister Lucy, miraculously, I was able to get him a visitor's visa to come here, and he was the first international person we had. I hadn't thought of doing that before, and then I think a year or two later, I went to the Parliament of World Religions, and that was in 2015. And I met Father Centurio, a priest, a Catholic priest from Uganda. And he said, "Oh, you should come to Uganda." And at that time, having met Gauss, the counselor from India, and Sister Lucy, I had planned to come to India to visit the orphanage. And so I said, okay, I'll take a month to come to Uganda. And, I've always had this affection for Africa from the time I was a child, looking in National Geographic and seeing pictures and everything. So it had been a dream of mine to go to Africa. So I went to Uganda and I met people there, and um, I met the person, Bernard, who comes now here to the US to be work with our counselors here. So it's through, I guess the short answer, it's through the interfaith um, conferences between the Parliament of World Religions and the Dawn of Interspirituality that I came to get to know those organizations better.
Okay. So nextly, I would like to know that what was a memorable project or story from your work
A memorable story from where?
from your work in Uganda
From
and
my
India?
work. Oh, um, uh, I think because I'm interested in um, spirituality and peacemaking and all that. One of a story that I have is when I was teaching first grade, which is 6 year olds. Um, I used to have a teacher's assistant for the day, so I would just go down the class list, and the kids got to be a teacher's assistant, and the teacher's assistant was the line leader, and they got to transition the class. And the way they would transition the class was they would have a signal word. And so one day, there was a boy, I'll call him Alex, um, who said, I said, Alex, you're the teacher's assistant. Actually, his family was originally from Pakistan. Um, and I said, you're the teacher's assistant today. And I said, do you have a signal word for us? And he said, actually, I have a signal sentence. Can I use a signal sentence? And I said, sure. And he said, everybody loves Jesus. And so in the US, we have there's a separation between church and state. So in the public school, we can't preach religion or those kinds of things. Um, but for me, I'm not going to preach, but if a student wants to bring their beliefs or whatever, I'm not going to close it down, because I want them to be able to be who they are in the classroom, because that's how you open up the doors for learning. So in that particular year, there was a boy who had no religion, and they were the opposite. So right after this boy Alex said, everybody loves Jesus, this other boy said, everybody doesn't love Jesus. I'm not going to say that. And the whole class, like their eyes just got big and they looked at me like, now what is she going to do? And so I I said, okay, now this boy Alex, he always talked about God and he always talked about Jesus. It was just something that everybody knew that he did. And so I said, okay, we all know that Alex loves Jesus. Am I right? And the whole class were like, yeah. And so, and I was thinking of what to do while I was saying what we already know. And I said, okay, how about, Alex, if we say, Alex loves Jesus? And he said, okay. So all day long, and in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, am I going to get in trouble for doing, is a parent going to like come and yell at me for doing this? But in my heart, I knew exactly what I was standing for, and I was standing for Alex. Like wasn't doing any kind of proselytizing or anything, but I was going to stand up for this boy. And if he wanted to bring, his belief system didn't hurt anybody. And so anyway, all day long, when it was time to go to lunch, he would stand at the front and he would say, Alex loves Jesus. And then the class would, because what they would do is they would repeat. So then they would say, Alex loves Jesus. And then everybody would line up. So it was good. That's one of my favorite stories, of getting, of making space for inclusiveness and kind of the difficulty of it.
Okay, this story really brightened me up, you can see. So I guess it's really fun to work and teach students. Like they are really honest and they are really fun, and they don't really hesitate whatever they are saying, and they don't really care unless and until like they just say what's in their heart, and that's I guess the best thing about the children.
Yeah, yeah.
So my next question would be that, of course, like you are running an organization, and with all the fun stories and all the success, there's always a struggle behind it. Something that you really struggled with, something maybe common or something that you felt was major problem that you have faced so far.
Um, let's see. In teaching, um, my biggest struggle, I think, is when either the federal government or the state government or the school district would require us to do things, which I didn't think was always in the best interest of the student, but they were doing it for statistics or, um, yeah, some things that we had to do, or that teachers have to do, are like all the testing and all of that. They're for statistics, and it's not necessarily for students' um, data learning, a learning environment. And so I, I, I struggled with the testing culture. I don't like that very much because it causes a lot of stress and it takes away from the teaching time. I always felt like it was like if you're trying to lose weight and you just weigh yourself all the time. That's what the taking more tests isn't really going to help you do better. Um, but I know they need to have a measurement system on how well things are going. But I didn't think we needed so many. Um, and in peace camp, um, the struggles that I can have in peace camp are um, hmm, I think they're mostly within myself that I want it to go well, and so I might feel stress. Is there going to be a situation where um, that's going to be difficult for me to help the kids make peace? And one time, actually, two boys who were actually friends, they got in a fight, and um, that was interesting. I had to find different resources within myself, like how am I going to solve this problem? How am I going to help them come together? And we did. I always try to relax myself first and just speak honestly and truthfully and from the heart, and try to create space where the two people are able to do that also. Um, there was a really one of my most challenging times at Peace Camp came when when we go places, we take the city bus, metro. And one time there was a woman, an African American woman, and I say that um, because I'm white, and she was black, and she um, looked around and was yelling at me as a white person, telling me that I was just saying bad things, like that I was stealing the kids and trying to do this, trying to do that. And the kids they were scared because she was saying all of these things. And so I, I didn't want them to be scared, and I didn't want to create any more divisiveness than she was already feeling. So I stayed standing on the bus and tried not to look at her because I didn't want her to feel like I was trying to overpower her or do whatever. And when I felt like the energy had kind of calmed down, then I sat down, and about maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes later, she tapped me on the shoulder. And at first, I didn't turn around because I didn't want her to start yelling at me again. And um, then she tapped me again. And so I turned around, and she looked at me and she said, "I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry for everything I said to you." She said, "When I look around at the kids, I can see that they're really happy and they're enjoying themselves, and what you're doing is good. So please forgive me. I'm really sorry for the words I said." And I said, "It's okay. I understand." Because I understood. Um, so it was a difficult moment, but it turned out to be really beautiful. And it seemed like every year there was something at Peace Camp that would happen like that. that someone would come. One time a neighbor yelled at me because the kids were too noisy. So and they were watching how I was dealing with the neighbor. So it's like every year I was tested. Like, is this really peace camp? Can you make peace? Because for me, it was a big commitment to use the word, to have peace in the title. Like, it's not just a name, it's really what I'm trying to create, not just at the camp, but whenever we go out, that I tell the kids this, that it should be a peaceful vibe, for the greater community. So those are a few stories.
Okay, they were really inspiring, I would say. And I believe that peace comes within, and the way you deal with those situations really show that you are really calm and you just handle the situation really light headed. So that's really
Hmm.
amazing. My next question would be that, in your opinion, what role does education play in building lasting peace?
Um, I think it plays an important role because um, because that's where kids are first coming together in a larger community outside the family. I mean, the family is first and foremost, and then from the family they come into a larger community, and how um, kids treat each other and how they're mentored um, has a lot to do, I think, with their self-esteem and how they see themselves in the greater world outside of their family. So I think education, it's not just about knowing things, like remembering facts, but it's so much more than that. And I think as an educator, that was what I would try to bring to the classroom. And I think the teachers are really important because, you know, kids want their teachers to like them. And if I don't care what the age is, even in high school, if a child feels like the teacher doesn't like them, they might say, I don't care, I don't like that teacher either. But they care. You want people to like you, especially an elder. Even though kids might say they don't care, they do care. Um, so there was a period that I was not working full time. I was substitute teaching, and so sometimes kids, they can give the substitute teacher a hard time and test the teacher in different ways. So I would always talk about that in the beginning. Like, I know you want to, kids want to test the substitute teacher and all of that, but this is our life together. Let's enjoy this time we have together because this is our life. And then at the end of the day, I would say, forgive me if I said anything or did anything that may have hurt your feelings. I like you all, and I want to make sure that you know that I like you. And if we bumped heads today, then I forgive you, and please forgive me. And I told them that my one of my biggest fears in teaching was that a child would think that I didn't like them, and they would carry that into their adult life. So we have a big impact.
Okay, so lastly, what the advice would you like to give to the youth? Please?
Advice to give to the students is that um, let's see. Have patience, um, be respectful, be kind, um, and work hard. Uh, did I hit all of them? Oh, I used to have three rules in my classroom: be safe, be kind, and be respectful. And now I'm adding be patient, because if you can be patient and believe in yourself, and if you have a hard time believing in yourself, then find someone who believes in you, and let them nurture the light that you're born on this earth with, because everybody has a light, and everybody's here um, for a purpose, and a good purpose.
Okay, thank you so much for this great advice and once again for joining me in this podcast. This was very amazing conversation and I hope you enjoyed my questions too and my questions didn't make you bored. And thank you so much.
Okay,
So, okay, everyone.
thank you, thank you. Have a good, I guess it's nighttime there. Have a good night.
Thank you so
Okay.
much. Okay, everyone. So I will end my podcast over here. I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I did. And we'll meet in another podcast with a new guest. Till then, Allah Hafiz and goodbye.